Hello, welcome to Bread and Roses. Today we're going to talk about capitalism. At the core of capitalist ideology is the astonishing belief that the nastiest motives of the nastiest men somehow or other work for the best results in the best of all possible worlds. That's a quote from John Maynard Keynes. So we live in a capitalist society, that is to say our economic system is capitalist and other features of our society, such as the political system, are deeply influenced by it. Our world today cannot be properly understood without understanding capitalism. So what is capitalism? It is a type of economic system. Understanding it would take at least an entire textbook, but briefly, here are some of its main features. Private ownership of the means of production. The means of production is the stuff that produces wealth, the factories, machinery, equipment, tools, farmland, raw materials, computers, movie theaters, malls, etc. So I own the widget factory and the machines used to make widgets. The fact that I own these things and you don't is why I am able to exploit you. The owners of the means of production are called capitalists. Smaller businesses are usually owned by an individual or by a few different business partners who put their money together to invest in owning and running a business. Big businesses are usually corporations. A corporation is not owned by an individual or by a group of business partners. The ownership of the corporation is split up among the stockholders, aka shareholders. Each stock or share is a piece of the corporation. So for example, the Disney company is a corporation. Millions of people all over the world own stocks of Disney. A person who owns a single stock of Disney owns a tiny piece of that corporation. However, the ownership of Disney is concentrated in the hands of a few. A few very rich people own a lot of stock from Disney, and there are millions of middle-income people who own only a few Disney stocks. Another defining feature of capitalism is exploitation. Surplus extraction, the method of exploitation of capitalism, will be explained in the upcoming video where I get into that issue. But in a nutshell, the wages workers receive from capitalists for their labor is less than the value of what they produce with their labor. Another defining feature of capitalism is no restrictions on trade. This part of capitalism is only theoretical. In reality, there are restrictions on trade, but the restrictions are applied selectively to benefit those who are already wealthy and powerful, in order to make them even more wealthy and more powerful. The term for a lack of trade restrictions is called free trade. Another defining feature of capitalism is competition. Workers compete against each other for jobs, something you are probably familiar with, and capitalists compete against each other for sales and customers. They want as many customers as possible, but there are only a limited number. With corporations, capitalists also compete for stock buyers. The more people want to buy a corporation's stock, the more valuable that stock becomes. Another defining feature of capitalism is the profit imperative. The goal of capitalist business is to make as much money as possible, even if it requires doing immoral things. Because businesses are competing against each other, the ones who pursue profit the most aggressively and ruthlessly are the ones that will usually be the most successful. Competition also pressures all business owners, even the nice ones, to pursue profit in a ruthless, immoral way, or else they might go out of business. Some of the ways capitalists try to cut down their costs and raise their profits are as follows. Paying as low wages as possible. For example, Disney has sweatshops in Haiti where wages are extremely low. Buying products made by slaves. For example, in the Industrial Revolution, a lot of cotton was picked by slaves. Today, most cocoa is picked by slaves in West Africa, or I'm not sure actually if it's most cocoa, but it is a significantly large portion of it. Destroying the environment is another way to cut costs. because figuring out ways to cut down on pollution and dispose of waste in the proper way can get quite expensive. And another defining feature of capitalism is market exchange. So the market is the negotiation of deals between buyers and sellers. Sellers try to sell for the highest possible price, and buyers try to buy for the lowest possible price, though quality is also considered. Buyers want the lowest price for the quality that they intend to purchase. Sellers are motivated by profit, and buyers are motivated by the desire to maximize utility, but they are constrained by how much money they have. So those are some defining features of capitalism. And more generally, we can define capitalism as a specific form of social relations premised on the dominance of the commodity form as the end to which production proceeds, the movement of commodities on the market, the private ownership of the means of production, the commodification of activity as wage labor, and the use of this alienation of labor within the capitalist system of value to extract surplus value from labor, producing profit and capital. Now, Marx defines capitalism, as you know, that would be Karl Marx, as a system in which the dominant form of production is commodity production, and in which the self-expansion of value for its own sake is the driving force behind this production. So now I'm going to read an excerpt from a book by an economist named Jim Stanford. That book is called Economics for Everyone. This excerpt comes from pages 34 to 35. What is capitalism? There are two key features that make an economy capitalist. 1. Most production of goods and services is undertaken by privately owned companies, which produce and sell their output in hopes of making a profit. This is called production for profit. 2. Most work in the economy is performed by people who do not own their company or their output, but are hired by someone else to work in return for a money wage or salary. This is called wage labor. Any economy driven by these two features, production for profit and wage labor, tends to replicate the following trends and patterns over and over again. 1. Fierce competition between private companies over markets and profit. 2. Innovation as companies constantly experiment with new technologies, new products, and new forms of organization in order to succeed in that competition. 3. An inherent tendency to growth resulting from the desire of each individual company to make more profit. 4. Deep inequality between those who own successful companies and the rest of society who do not own companies. 5. A general conflict of interest between those who work for wages and the employers who hire them. 6. Economic cycles or roller coasters with periods of strong growth followed by periods of stagnation or depression. Sometimes these cycles even produce dramatic economic and social crises. Okay, so that's the end of the excerpt from Jim Stanford's book, and I think that's where we'll leave it for today. Tomorrow I'll come back with another video talking more about capitalism, going deeper into its definition, and we're going to have a whole series of videos on capitalism, understanding it better, and also understanding the social issues, political issues, economic issues that it causes throughout the world. So be sure to subscribe, click the bell so that you're notified about the next video. And if you liked this video, give it a like, and whether or not you liked this video, leave me a comment just telling me what you thought, or adding your own comments about capitalism in general, whatever you want. Thanks for watching.